Oh, it's Halloween themed. Was it Halloween themed on Monday?
I think it was. Okay. Oh, wait. Actually, going to mirror. And okay, perfect. And then I just need to post a Zoom link. Okay, awesome. Pretty easy to know when everyone joins the Kahoot today.
Let's go. 6 people. I don't see a cost. Oh, wait. Did we say costumes next week? Yeah.
Next week?
We did.
Okay, okay. All right, so we'll just give like a couple more minutes for people to join. Okay, nice. And then I don't know if our Zoom attendant wants to join. Yes. Okay, perfect. Okay, looks like everyone should be in. Oh, okay, you're good. You're good.
Wait, do you want to kick it?
Yeah. There we go. Oh, no music. That's why the vibes are off. Let's see. How did I get it working last time?
Share audio? I think you might already be doing that.
Yeah. Maybe the speaker is like off or something. I'll just use my MacBook speakers. Okay. Okay, I think we're just waiting on one more to join. Okay, perfect. All right, let's get started. So it's a bit of a review Kahoot from last class. See if anyone can get this. I'll move the Zoom. Yes, view holder. Okay, so it seems like most of us were able to get that. I did go over that a good bit last class. So you have your layout file in XML, which is like essentially dictates what your general recycler item is going to look like. But when that item is actually operating in your app, we call that a view holder. So yeah. Oh my gosh. So it says, what's the purpose of the recycler view adapter? Choose the best answer. Nice. Okay, everyone got that. That's awesome. Yeah. So yeah, the goal of the adapter, we want to tell the recycler view how the data set populates the item layouts, right? So even though like the adapter also tells the recycler view how large the data set is, but I wouldn't really say it's the best answer. It's not very descriptive of like what the adapter does, it just names one property of it. So all right, next question. Why is Kotlin an important programming? I'm just like a huge Kotlin fan, so I kind of just put this in here. It's fine if you're not really expected to know all of this. I was just trying to think of a question. Yeah. I love Kotlin. It's all the answers. So yeah, it has for higher order functions. That's like the idea that you can use a function as a variable. It allows the client to create extension functions. So if there's a class that's implemented that has functions, you're actually able to like add functions, add even more functions to that class, even though like you're not actually making the class. So that's kind of like an idea of what extension functions are. You're using them without even realizing it when you code. Yeah, and then you can also make concise solutions for coding problems in CS 4820 Intro to Analysis of Algorithms. This semester, they started supporting Kotlin. So pretty cool. As a byproduct of the Android course, you get to use a good coding language for algo. So yeah. Okay. True or false? You submitted homework 3. What are we thinking for this one? Yes. Awesome. Glad to see everyone submitted on time. Very cool. All right. And our final question. So what should you do if you're stuck during today's code along? Okay. Wow. So everyone actually, so there's 3 correct answers here. Of course, like don't like the main takeaway from this though is don't just like chill and wait for us to go over the answers. It will really like impact your learning because I feel like last lecture we kind of had a demo on that, right? So you've already seen someone implement a recycler view, but doing it and actually like doing something and practicing it, that's how you learn. So yeah, it's really important that like throughout the code along, even if you get stuck, right, you're always trying to essentially like finish the like our assignment to you, right? So yeah, you can raise your hand and ask for help. That's definitely a really great thing to do. But like let's say Sophie and I are both helping someone and you're still like and you're stuck, but you still want to be doing something other than just sitting there, right? Researching using the course textbook and Google is like a really like 2 like really good resources. Like as a developer, like I would not be able to survive without Google. So yeah, definitely look things up. And yeah, also like feel free to discuss with someone nearby. I think that could be pretty productive as well. So yeah, okay. Great. So our winners for today. Uh nice job to everyone on the podium. Okay, cool. Uh so let's go over where are my slides? Okay. Need to bring them up very quick. Wrong one. Okay, that's a past year's slide. Yeah, this should be it. Okay, perfect. So yeah, okay. Slideshow. Okay. So yes, this is demo 4 of Intro to Android Development, or code along to. We kind of have like a mix of like the old and new titles, but cool. Okay, so let's just do like a brief review of recycler views. So hopefully everyone was here on Monday and got to learn like a high level overview of recycler views. But I'm just going to be going over that again since it has been a couple of days. I don't understand if you forget some of the details, right? So this is like a high level overview of how a recycler view works. So you have your items that are visible on the screen, and those are being rendered, and your recycler view is binding the data in the data set to those items. But then when they go off the screen, they get scrapped and essentially go into this recycled state, right? And that's when you have your view holder. Your view holder is like your instance of your XML layout that essentially it's just your XML layout. You don't actually have data in it. And then you take this like dirty view and you bind it. And then this binding prepares it to be loaded onto the screen. So it all makes it really efficient. And we saw last time, even we have a list of like thousands of items, we were able to just scroll through it pretty easily. So yeah, cool. Okay, so here's our data. Right. So again, we're probably going to have a data class. Like sometimes you might get this data in like a JSON form, but don't really worry about that yet until networking. So yeah, I would just say like you're essentially when you have an object that has multiple fields, right? You want to actually make a data class for that object, and then that will allow you to create a list of those objects and then parse through them. And you're going to be doing that during the demo today. It might be kind of challenging since we haven't gone over like implementation of a data class. So I would say pay attention to this slide here. The syntax is actually really simple. So you just say data class and then the name of your data class. And then you just put the fields and the types for each field. So pretty simple syntax. And you're going to be using that. We're going to be making like a scuffed version of Eatery today. So you're going to get to make an Eatery data class and you'll get to see that. Yeah, in terms of your layout, just a reminder that when you're using Recycler View, you need a custom XML layout file, and that's just going to go in your like layout folder in your it's in your XML resources. So yeah, you just make something like this. You want to put a bunch of like dummy fields in there, and then your adapter is actually going to handle populating that. And this is another big reminder that's going to be important when you're coding, because if you don't define a layout manager for your recycler view, when you run your code, your app will just crash instantly. So make sure that you define a layout manager. I definitely recommend linear layout manager. That's the simplest one. It just arranges it in this like horizontal list kind of view. So yeah. Cool. And then our adapter. So just a reminder of what that is, right? We need to define a class that will extend recycler view.adapter. And I'm definitely not expecting like really anyone to have memorized the syntax from last time. Definitely look at the course textbook. They have really good examples of how to define a recycler view adapter class. And also I've updated the course textbook to include the most recent demo from Monday. So that brief demo that I did with the Android subteam member names, that is actually on the course textbook now. So if you want to download that and use that as a resource when you're working through this code along, definitely feel free. So yeah. Okay, cool. I think that's basically it. Then for the view holder, right? We already went over that a little bit. That's the name of that live instance of your XML layout. And that's what you're going to be like populating using your code. You're going to reference this view holder and bind it with the adapter. Yeah, and like another piece of syntax you're going to have to keep in mind is that your view holder needs to extend recycler view.view holder. So it needs to get the information that all view holders have to have that's defined by Android. So cool. Okay. Important adapter methods. So we've like went over some of these, right? OnCreate view holder just has this like kind of ugly syntax, but it's just basically taking that XML file that you made and actually making it into a live view holder that's in your app, right? On bind view holder, that's responsible for taking your view holder, which is actually given to you in the parameter, and you want to take that view holder and actually bind it to the data. So yeah, I think I can turn on a laser pointer here. That's fun. There we go. Bind it to the data, right? So yeah, and then get item count, like this is our most basic method. You just return the size of the data set. So just going over like all this stuff you're going to be implementing today. So yeah, does anyone have any questions on like any of the adapter methods, what they do, what you'll need to implement? Okay. Great. So then you should all be ready to work on this. So this is what you'll be working on. Basically the idea is it's Eatery, but we basically stripped away all the apps features. So what we have is this list of different eateries right here. And each eatery is going to get its own eatery card, right? And each eatery card has this favorite button on it, and we want to be able to favorite eateries. So this is going to use the like notify dataset changed that we talked about earlier, like on Monday, but I briefly went over that. You're gonna have to use that, and you're also going to have to make your layout file for this card view. So it's going to be a little bit different than what we've done before, because during the demo before, I just had like a very basic, like just putting a string inside a card. But now we actually have these we have like a more complex layout. We have two strings, and then on to the side of it, we have this like star icon, right? So yeah, I think this is definitely going to be pretty challenging. So it's okay if you're not able to get all the way through. I'm going to be going over like the implementation near the end. So probably in like 25 minutes, I would say. Yeah, so it's definitely going to be hard to get this done in 25 minutes, but try your best, ask for help. Yeah, at the end, I'll post like the full code in the course textbook. Yeah. So just get started. Does anyone have any questions about like the specifics of what you should be working on?
Yeah, is anyone not sure where to start?
Okay, yeah. So if you yeah, you might not know where to start, right? That's completely understandable. So I'd say like when you're developing, right, just start with the easiest things possible first. So like the easiest things in this assignment might just be, okay, how can I get a recycler view onto the screen, right? I need to add a recycler view in XML of my main activity, right? That's one thing that I need to do. I need to create a layout file, right? So I would say start off with just making the XML for how your code is going to end up looking. That's pretty useful. And then if you get past that, you can start like working on the implementing the data. And eventually, I would say save the recycler view adapter for last. That's probably going to be the hardest part. So yeah. Okay. If you need like help getting started, like raise your hand. Like we're happy to come help you further. But yeah. Okay, so this is your goal is to recreate this. Any other questions about like what you're working on, the specifications? Yeah, right. Yeah. So basically you want to create a recycler view adapter file. And in that file, you're actually going to create a class for the view holder for that adapter. Because the way that like recycler views work is essentially each recycler view has a single adapter, and that adapter just tells the recycler view how to bind the data to its like view holder. And those might seem like separate things, but like what actually is happening is that the recycler view just has these view holders, and these are all kind of like with respect to the recycler view. So the recycler view is going to have like each of these view holders, and we need to populate the data for those view holders with our adapter. So it's easiest if we have it in the same file as the adapter. So we know everything about the view holder class inside the adapter. And yeah, I think the course textbook is going to be like super helpful. So yeah, definitely refer to that. Any other questions about anything at all? Okay. Yeah, so get started. Raise your hand if you need help. And I think at 9:15, I'm going to start implementing this solution. So at that time, I want everyone to submit like what they have to CMSX. And again, like it's totally fine if you don't finish. This is definitely a lot to ask for in 25 minutes, but I want to like push everyone, see how far everyone can get. Uh, and yeah, so get started. Okay, thank you.
For some reason, I need to make a copy of everything. So like, it's like a direct thing. Maybe I should have made complete copies.
I think if they're shared with everyone, I think it should be okay. Yeah. I'll bring this slide back up very soon. You can like choose to use it as a separate display.
Okay.
Yeah. Right, yeah, so mine is been, so I say focus on getting, but you're focusing getting your excellent level in the activity, right? So that's what you said you're doing, which is good. Then the other piece of excellent level you're gonna have to do is create your metering part. And where you see this, you open the rest here. So you see this, yeah. And right click on tab. Or right click on that, and then yeah, and then just call that like again. So that's gonna be like and then basically your goal is to take this there resource file and you want to have a theory report, like what's shown on there. And then once you're done with excellent help, if you need help to get past that, then I can tell you to do next. But yeah, so you want to like the idea is you're creating this excellent file. It's going to have an example of the part, and then you're going to use that example over and over. So yeah. Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, we're just gonna go like, no, yeah, that's the question. So I would say the easiest way to get layout, if you So that's gonna bring up your excellent code and the and just okay, so that's probably interesting. Then oh, sorry, I thought you meant that you want to. Oh, yeah, I got it so much. Well, okay, the issue is you see these red, so it's you actually have to change your constraints. So whenever you're using constraint now, all you're doing is the constraint on the path of constraint. So like, yeah, you know what to do, right? So you're adding those constraints, that's good. So add those constraints. This year, okay, you also have to constraint. Like, that's fine. You don't need that. I would say just remember that like whenever we use a constraint on path actions. Yeah, that's actually fine. And then let's do actually. So, do you remember how to do the nation? So let's do that. Let's get reference first. So it's going to so try gaining access. Also. So I would say after you do that, I want you to create a or I'd say go with courses. Look at your site. They'll show you what you want to create a new class where your site will be after. So try formulating your site. Like after you're done, making sure your references to your experts. Okay. Nice. Okay. Yeah, that's a good question. So, I didn't really go over this, so I'm gonna make like an announcement about this. Okay, so for everyone who like wants to make their data class, typically when you make a model for data, that's like independent from like your code, right? So usually that gets a separate file. So what you could do is like right click on the folder that you have all your classes in and do new and then Kotlin class/file. And then from there you want to choose yeah, data class, right, exactly. Yeah, and then that'll actually like set up the syntax of your data class for you. So it's pretty convenient. And you can have a field in there. So yeah. Maybe that's your question. Oh yeah. So okay, from here yeah, okay, so like a data class in Kotlin will work just like essentially just like a normal Java class. So you'll be able to use like the constructor that comes with the class to like instantiate it. So you don't actually have to make a constructor. So that's the great thing about the data class is that it will automatically generate the constructors, the getters, the setters, and we'll do all that. So if I wanted to make a new instance of like dining, yeah, you do not need it. So like val like dining called one is equal to or yeah, if you want to show that you can say it's a word. You don't need the new for using column. So you can say like dining. Yeah, like that, and then you pass in like what you put in your constructor. Yes. Yeah, exactly. So now you have that. And you might want to put like a bunch of those like this, and then you want to put that in this chair. Yeah, so you go right click on the little one, so the one like that has your name. Yeah. New, comments. And then choose the plus. Then edit. I think each one is a pretty good choice. Use probably get stuff. Yes, that's a good question. So actually, what I think I did was if you don't choose wall, you can do it in right click, new. Okay. Actually, I feel like you might not want to waste spend a lot of time when you start because you don't have to be like I didn't want to be able to go over this issue. So I'd say just try to focus on getting your stuff. Like don't really worry about it right now. But I think it'll be cool to see stuff. Yeah, I would say like definitely focus on like this goes for everyone, like definitely focus on just getting your cycler view up and running. If you can do that before I need to start going over things, like that would be really great. So yeah, just try to focus on like getting your cycler view scrollable and like on the screen. If you can do that, that's awesome. Favoriting is kind of like a bonus that I'm going to be going over. So don't be too concerned about that. What about? Oh, yeah, there is.
Oh,
Yeah,
I hear guys.
I know. It's such a time consuming class. And it's like you're never done the P set. Like I know there's stuff wrong in my P set, but it's like the time that it would take to fix it is not worth spending. I'd rather just lose a couple points and be able to focus on other things.
Should I get my schedule already?
I think so. Jeez, that's insane. You were so cracked. Like
No, I'm gonna have to drop this.
still, oh my god.
I just need you out.
Yeah, if that's what you really want to do, I respect that. But No. All right, so I want to make sure I have enough time to do the demo. It's 9:15. I want to like have 20 minutes to make sure we have enough time. So I would say right now, submit what you have to CMSX. The way that you can do that is, let me show you. So, hopefully this will work. Okay, it's a little bit glitched out. Um, uh, my display configuration got messed up. Give me a second. Okay, great. Okay, so if you want to submit to CMSX, you can go to File and then export to zip file. So that's what you want to be submitting to CMS. So yeah, take a moment to do that. And I'm gonna actually start going over the XML right now. So yeah, feel free to just like work on submitting this while I'm going over the XML. It should be like pretty basic. Since XML, we're kind of just putting elements inside of things, so nothing too complicated. The first thing that we're gonna do is put in our recycler view. So I just got rid of the text view, and now what we're gonna do, let's see, is we're gonna add our recycler. So recycler view, and we're gonna have it wrap the content, so only be as big as the elements inside of it, and give it an ID of recycler view. Oh right, because I haven't put constraints on it yet, so I would say just constrain it to the center of the screen. There we go. So XML for our main activity is done. That should have been pretty simple. So the next thing that we want to do is make our layout item. So I'm gonna call this eatery item. And now what we're gonna do is go to our code, and we're gonna replace this constraint layout with a card. So we have our card, and this is where actually XML, like having the idea to write the XML like this might actually be kind of tricky. So basically, like we have our card view, but the thing is that the card view doesn't tell our like Android Studio what way we want to arrange the items inside the card view, right? So if we want to arrange items inside a card view, we should give it another layout that tells Android how we're going to arrange those items. So I'm actually going to give it another constraint layout. So so now we have a constraint layout inside a card view. So like, yeah, this is definitely a bit like non-trivial, but if you were able to arrange it some other way, that's totally fine. But this is like tends to be like probably the best way to do it. So you have your card view, and then inside this card, you have your constraint, right? And we want the card to be a fixed size. So I'm gonna say that's 300 dp, and the height is going to be wrap content. So the card is only as big as its content. Yeah, okay, so that should be fine, I think. Then what we want to do is put in our text. So text view, and we're gonna make the text just say Morrison, just like as a template string. Yeah, and then we want to add in constraints since this is in a constraint layout. So we can do that right here. It's kind of hard to see. You have to zoom in a bit. Let's see. Yeah, sometimes it's hard to do it with the design, so I'm just gonna do it with the code. There we go. So now we have some constraints in here. The next thing we want to do is add our next. Oh, well, we want to give this an ID as well. So dining hall name. Okay. I'm gonna start going through things a bit faster. Because again, this is just XML. So so what is this? Location, right? So location. And let me add the template strings. Okay. And then ID location text. And top to bottom of dining hall name. So you want to put the top constraint to the bottom of the dining hall name, and we can just do start to start of parent. There you go. So that's our constraints are basically in. It's good enough, right? Then the other thing you want to do is add our star. So this star, we're just going to use an image view. You can also use an image button for this. But I just like personally just find it more convenient to just use an image view. And the way that we actually get our star is we need to add a drawable resource. So like if you weren't worried about the favoriting, that's totally fine. Let's see. So let's find our star, and we're gonna use this star border. So what I just did was I added this vector resource to my drawables, and now we're gonna put in the image view. So again, like all of this code will be posted, but let's see, why is I can't get to my iPad. Okay. So I'm just going to basically like copy and paste the XML from what I already had, just like speed things up a bit. Okay. Hopefully my mouse will work now. Okay, cool. Nothing's working. That's fine. Okay, so we're just gonna do an image view. And there we go. So, okay, so here's the solution. I'm just going to basically put this inside my demo. Sorry, my computer is really lagging. Where is it? Wrong window. Okay, looks like my demo decided to close. Demo for demo. What is going on? Okay, sorry about this, everyone. seems like it thinks. Wait, that's so weird. Oh, that's why. Okay, there we go. So for some reason it wasn't mirroring my screen. That's why it wasn't working. Okay, so I'm gonna copy this from the demo just to make things a bit easier. Okay, perfect. So we'll just leave it like that for now. We only have 13 minutes, so we're gonna try to speed this up. Okay, so we have our XML in, right? The next thing that we need to do is, yeah. Oh wait, oh my God, it ends at 9:25, not 35. Okay, great. That's fine. So I'm just gonna start coding the adapter because I think that's like the most important part and probably what most of you struggled on. So yeah, we're gonna just call this recycler adapter. Okay, cool. So what do we want to do next, right? I think I would say that the goal is we want first we need our adapter to like extend the built-in recycler view, like the built-in recycler view adapter, right? Because without that, we don't really know like what we want to put on it. So yeah, we're gonna use the colon to extend and recycler view dot adapter. Seems like grabbing. Okay, that's fine. So we also want to we always pass in our data set to our recycler adapter, and that's going to be a list of dining halls. So let me quickly create the data class here. So dining hall. Okay. And yeah, basically just put in the parameters, right? So data set is going to be a list of dining halls. Okay. Cool. So we're passing in our data set to our recycler adapter. And then the next thing that you want to do is, right, so we need to define our view holder. So as I was telling Veronica, our view holder is going to be inside the recycler view adapter, right? So that's going to extend recycler view dot view holder. Yeah, and then right, we're gonna do this. Okay, so I don't recycler view should be coming up. Oh yes, thank you. Okay. Yes, and that should be imported. Okay, perfect. So we have our view holder, right? So what does our view contain? It contains our star, which is an image view. It contains, okay, yeah. So I do want to say like it is 9:25. So if you have something after this, feel free to go. But I'm gonna finish up the recycler view adapter class. It shouldn't take longer than 5 minutes, just so you can see what that looks like. Yeah.
Is it possible to make the submission a little bit bigger? Because the max size is 100 kilobytes for next one.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Okay. So cool. Okay, so our view holder is going to have, it has the star about whether or not it's favorited, right? It has the dining name view, which is a text view. It has the campus location text, which is a text view. It has the star, which in this case I'm in an image view. And when we initialize this, right, we're gonna have our dining name view be view.findView by ID r.id dining hall name. And right, so we're basically just going to initialize all of these to their respective XML elements. So this way, when we have an instance of this view holder class, we're gonna have all of the views like already initialized, and we'll be able to manipulate them really easily. So this is gonna be an image view, and we're gonna say r.id dot. Did I give this an ID? I did. Okay, perfect. Star. Okay. Oh, I accidentally put it twice. That's why I wasn't working. Okay, cool. Okay, so that's it for the view holder class, right? So this view holder represents the live instance of our XML layout. And here we have our live instance is going to have these different views that we can access with our code. Okay, so now we actually have to start focusing on putting in those 3 recycler view methods that we talked about, right? So what we're gonna do is put in, we're gonna put in recycler adapter dot view holder in here. Again, this is just like a lot of weird syntax that we have to do. Let's see. Yeah, that should be recycler view. Okay, good. And now it's giving us this option to implement members. So this is going to save us a lot of time. We just hit OK here. And for on create view holder, remember, this is just a lot of weird syntax, but it's basically just creating our view holder with code, right? So it's initializing that. R.layout. Let's see. Right. So we want our eatery item. Okay. And remember that, yeah, this is like, don't really worry about what this means, but we kind of have to have it. And then same thing with like get item count, right? That's just dataset.size. And then here's the much more interesting part, which is the on bind view holder. So how do we bind our data to our XML element, right? So this actually gives us a view holder, which extends our view holder class that we declared up here. So we know this view holder is going to have all of these items that we talked about, right? So what we can do is we can say our dining hall. We should get our dining hall first, right? So that's going to be our data set, and we want to access the position that our item is in. So now we have our dining hall object, and this is of type eatery, or okay, in this case, it's of type dining hall, right? And that's going to have these fields, okay? So the next thing that we want to do is set up the view holder to have these fields, right? So view holder dot dining name view, we want to set the text of that to the dining hall name, right? So equals dining hall dot name. And then our location is the text of that is going to be equal to the dining hall dot location. And lastly, we want to actually do the star. So this is where things get more interesting. So we have our star that has this border here. And we also want to add a star that's filled in. So we can differentiate a favorited eatery from an eatery that's not favorited. So star, here's our star. And that's going to be filled in. So now that we have this in our drawable resources, we're actually able to use something called set image resource. So star dot set image resource. And then what do we want to set the image resource to, right? So if this dining hall is favorited, we want the star to be filled in. And if the dining hall is not favorited, we want it to be not filled in. So we can actually type that out really intuitively using Kotlin. So we can say if dining hall dot is favorite. So this is a field that I added to the dining hall that's of type Boolean. So if this is true, we want to set the image resource to the baseline star. That's the filled in star, right? Otherwise, we want to set the image resource to this star with a border. Okay. But then that's actually not all we have to do. So this will, when the item initially loads and binds to the view holder, right? This will set up the right favoriting status. But the thing that we want to work on is holder.card. Oh, wait, sorry. So yeah, so the thing that we want to work on is like when the star is actually clicked, right? We want to make it so it changes. So I think what we should be able to do is use holder.star dot, and let's see. Yeah, so set on click listener, perfect. So what we can do is modify the is favorite, right? So we can say dining hall dot is favorite equals not dining hall dot is favorite. So that basically just like means if it's favorited, we don't want it to be favorited anymore. If it's not favorited, it should be favorited, right? That's just a basic toggle. And then like the interesting thing that we have to do is we want to notify the recycler view that the item changed. And this is where we're going to use that position. So that's a really key line and a key insight from this demo is that when you change data in a recycler view, you're going to have to notify that the recycler view changed. And there's multiple ways to do that. One of them is actually notify data set changed. But this is really inefficient. You can see it even highlights it because it's so inefficient. And that's because that it has to try to update the entire data set as opposed to notify item change, which just says this specific item has changed. So that's actually it for our recycler view adapter. So yeah, thanks everyone for staying overtime. I appreciate it. If you want to see like the full implementation of this, I guess I could do it now, but like if you want to leave, I totally get it. Yeah, so yeah, if you want to go, feel free. I guess I'm just gonna do the whole implementation. Yeah, okay. Yeah, cool. So we have our adapter already, and it's actually not that much work to finish it off, which is good. So in our onCreate, we want to get a reference to our recycler view, and this should be pretty easy. It's going to be, well, we want to give this a type as well. So recycler view, and that's going to be find view by ID, r.id.recycler view, just how we set it up. And then all we actually have to do, so we need our data set, and I'm going to copy and paste it from my example. But if you wanted to set up your own data set, the way that you do it is Kotlin has a method called list of, which you can basically create. You can create a list of all the arguments that you pass in, right? So I'm passing in a bunch of dining halls. It's creating a list of all those dining halls. And then we're just going to use that as our data. So so we want to set the adapter. Oops. So our recycler view dot adapter, we want to set that equal to our custom recycler adapter. And we're going to pass in our data, just as we said that the constructor of our adapter, right, always takes in the data. And the last thing you have to do is our layout manager, which is going to be a linear layout manager. And we have to give this layout manager context, which is we just pass in this. And yeah, I believe that should be all the code. So let's see how this looks. It's going to take a bit of time to load. Oh, yeah, I'm still having that Gradle issue as always. Build successful. We'll see if we actually see the app. Okay, yes. So we do see our app. Yay. And you can see that each star, if you click on it, it will favorite. And the recycler view actually changes. So in this case, oh, okay, perfect. It is scrollable. I was gonna say it might not be scrollable, but we actually have enough dining halls where it is. So that's cool. Yeah, and you can favorite it. That's about it. That's what we were trying to create. It might not look exactly the same as the demo. I did rush through the XML a bit, but the functionality is there. Does anyone have like any questions at all about like the implementation of this?